Thanks for joining me. My name is Sean. This is Bananas for Bikes. In this video, I'm going to show you my 2023 Kona Sutra. I did a flat bar conversion on this. It comes stock with these Easton bars and the Shimano Tiagra 2x10 mechanical shifters. These work well. It's a nice setup if you want a touring bike, if you're looking for something where you can get kind of aero. I just found that because it's a steel bike and it's built for touring, it's got 32 spoke wheels, a real heavy steel fork. It's a heavy bike. It doesn't feel fast. Even though on a 50-mile ride with this, I was averaging the same speed as I was on my gravel bike with carbon fork, it just feels slower. It feels more sluggish and it's way heavier. So I really wanted to set this bike up for when I do touring or I do grocery getting on this thing, getting the groceries, or I ride it to and from work. So bike commuting, it just makes sense for me as a flat bar bike. It's just more comfortable. I just find flat bars in general to be way more comfortable. I don't care what you say about hand fatigue. You get hand fatigue on these. The reason that you have all these different positions doesn't help with hand fatigue. It's because you get hand fatigue with these bars. I find that with flat bars, my hands are way more comfortable. I like the ergonomics in terms of the shifting and the braking just make way more sense for an urban environment. It's just cheaper for parts, for replacement parts. You can replace individual components, whereas with this, if you want to do anything with these, you have to unwrap them. This isn't all-in-one, so if you break it, you have to replace the whole shifter brake combo. So for me, it just made sense in terms of the kind of riding that I was doing, that if I'm going to go drop bar, I'm going to do my fast gravel bike. And if I want to do touring or any kind of loaded riding, I'm going to go with this bike in a flat bar conversion. Also, if you want to do any kind of off-road riding, the flat bar is just going to make it a little bit safer. I've done a lot of like off-road, single track, mountain biking trails with drop bars. You can do it, but the flat bars are going to be a lot more safer and more comfortable. I also want to say that riding this bike is so much fun as a flat bar. It feels like you're just cruising on the beach, man. It is so nice. It's so smooth. And these 2x10 Tiagra shifters are just dreamy. They engage uh, the shifting on them is just so nice. What gear am I even in? There we go. The shifting on them is it's the best shifting I've ever had on a bike, period. It's just so nice. Uh, I've got other flat bar bikes. I've got other drop bar bikes. The shifting on this, the thing with the drop bar levers, I'm just finding that I'm having to push. It's using more effort. I mean, it works. It does the job. If you're looking for a road lever, GRX is great, but the shifting just can't be beat. Just the sheer amount of just little travel, bink, 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 and it's just hitting that shift every single time. Whereas with the drop bar, I had to wait a little bit. It wasn't engaging as quickly. Even when I dialed in like the cable and stuff, I'm pretty good at working on bikes. I just find that with road bike levers, they just don't shift as nicely as flat bars. It's just such a great setup. I almost think that the bike should have came stock like this. It's just so comfortable. And then if you're going to go like aero lightweight drop bar, you're probably not putting 45, or this can go up to 2.1. You're probably not putting 2.1s on a drop bar. Like for me, it just didn't seem to make sense to be like, I want to go fast, but then I'm going to be going slow with these big tires. So it just seems to make sense that if you're going to go fast, you're going to go skinnier tires, and you're going to go a lightweight bike, and you're going to go drop bar. If you're going to go heavier with the steel, mixed terrain, bigger tires, you're going to go flat bar. It's such a dream, and it's really given life back to this bike. I just enjoy hopping on it now so much. Whereas before, when I'd get on this, it was like, why don't I just ride the Cannondale if I'm going to ride a drop bar bike? So this has just been awesome. I do want to touch on a few points because when you do change to a flat bar, you have to swap out the levers for the brakes and the shifters. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit specifically about the parts that I chose. So right here we have these are the AVID speed dial 7s. Because this uses, I wanted to use as many of the stock parts as possible, which means the TRP Hy road mechanical to hydraulic actuated calipers, as well as the 2x10 GRX front and rear derailleurs. I didn't want to have to buy a whole new group set. So the way that we did that is I got a pair of these AVID speed dial 7s. And the nice thing about them is you can adjust the throw. So this, the brake cable anchor, where it anchors on the lever, you can change it. So when you open this back up, you'll see that anchor is right there. And then when you turn it, you can adjust for long or short throw brakes. So traditionally, the V brake is going to be a long pull. It's going to have that anchor right up close to that lever face. And then for your short pull canty brakes, it's going to push that lever point way back in there. Can't really see, but it's way back in there. And that's nice because TRP says that you can't actually use flat bar levers with these brakes, but these levers work really, really well. Highly recommend them. I actually put just a standard V-brake lever on here. That also works. But one reason you might not want to do that is because the pull on it was just, you weren't getting a long pull. I like a pretty crisp short pull. I don't like sponginess. I don't like it where that lever goes all the way back close to the grip, like I was with a lot of the SRAM levers. So some people might want a longer pull on this, but this is about as short as I'd want it, and it still has a really nice clean crisp brake at the end. Just really hits a nice wall. And I find that when I'm out riding, it works really well, both in modulation if you just want to slow down, or if you really want to crank on them and come to a halt, you can still lock up the brakes with these, but you also have enough modulation where you don't feel like as soon as you're pulling on the lever, you're instantly engaging the brakes. So highly recommend. Tektro also makes a lever that you can adjust between long and short pull, but this is so nice with the dial that you can really tune it in exactly where you want it. So I got a pair of these for 14 bucks at the used. So that's super cheap, way cheaper than buying road levers. And then I went with the Shimano Tiagra 2x10. So the Shimano Tiagra 2x10s will work with the GRX 2x10 drivetrain, which makes sense because the bike does come with Tiagra levers for the road setup. So it makes sense that it would also work for the flat bar setup. And it actually says on the Shimano website that Tiagra flat bar is fully Tiagra components are fully compatible with the GRX. So it works really well. The shifting is dreamy. The other thing I want to mention on my Cannondale, I have the 600 levers and the 810 rear derailleur, I believe. So it's a step up in components compared to what came with the Sutra. And that one you can set up as a 10-speed. So the GRX 10-speed and 11-speed both use the same spacing essentially. It's a mix of cable actuation and derailleur adjustment ratio mumbo jumbo, really high tech numbers that basically say that the GRX 2x10 and 2x11 stuff's intercompatible. What I did is I threw on a 10-speed 11 to 36 cassette on the Cannondale, and then just adjusted the B screw for the 810 rear derailleur so that that chain doesn't drop off the end where it would normally shift into that 11th gear. The 11th gear isn't there. The spacing's the same on the cassette, so you just adjust that B screw in a little bit and it shifts perfectly. Same 11-speed derailleur, same 11-speed shifter. The 11-speed shifter just doesn't engage into that final 11th gear because it's being bottomed out by the B screw, and works really, really well. I prefer the 10 speed over the 11 speed. I like the extra range and having a 36 instead of a 34 on that final large cog in the cassette in the rear. And I just found the spacing to be too close together on the 11 speed. I'm not at all a competitive road rider, so it just didn't seem to make sense. I didn't care about cadence enough to have such close ratio gears, so the 10 speed's more my jam. So that will work over there. I imagine that the Tiagra shifters will also work with the GRX 11 speed if you're running it as a 10 speed. However, Shimano does sell front and rear flat bar shifters specific for your 2x11 GRX setup. So if you do want to run the 11 speed, they also make shifters. They're just like $140, so they're more expensive. These were $74 for the pair, brand new on eBay. So I think I spent about $110 all in on the conversion. I had the bar already. Uh, the shifters were like 75. The levers were $14, and then I just needed some cables and some brake housing. And here you go. It's so nice. So let's do a little tour of the bike. These are those TRP Hy roads. Again, it actuates just like it would normally. You adjust them all the same. Fine tune adjustment, barrel adjuster there. Uh, it works really well. There's no issues whatsoever. Same in the rear. You get that wheel going, locks it up. You can skid to a stop. I've commuted but with this. I've gone to the grocery store with this. Works so well. This has got the 10 speed, 11 to 36. I believe this is a 600 rear derailleur, and it uses the stock. I wanted to use the stock derailleurs because the new derailleurs, I mean, now you're looking into the hundreds. So I really wanted to, and if you swap that out, you can't. Then you have to swap out the cranks, as the cranks have a 2.5 mil plus Q factor, where the chain line is. Other front derailleurs aren't going to come out far enough. They changed the cranks with these GRX cranks come out a little bit farther to give you a better chain line so that you can run wider tires with gravel setups and stuff. So you really need to use, GRX compatible components. So you can't just change one thing and expect it all to work, but the Tiagra stuff works so good. Check that out. I mean, it actuates really well. You could put some more slack in that cable if you wanted to just have a longer pull on the lever at the brake, but it would you'd just be picking up extra cable. You wouldn't actually be changing pad depth or anything like that. Works really well. This is the Cannondale Topstone. If I'm going road riding, if I want drop bars, I'm going with this bike. This bike is like at least 5 pounds lighter. It's so much faster. Just feels faster. This has got I believe it's the 600 levers and the 800 rear derailleur. but it's running a 10 speed as well. Here, we can actually pull this out so gently. So gently. Come on. Come on. Just check it out. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 speeds. Let's get this up. I'll show you that how it works.